Good morning. Today, me and Pamir will be celebrating Read Aloud Day globally.
Flat Stanley at bat. I can read. 2. Level 2.
Stanley Lamberchopped lived with his mother, his father, and his little brother Arthur.
Stanley was 4 feet tall, about a foot wide, and half an inch thick. He had been flat ever since a bulletin board fell on him.
Sometimes being flat was a bit tricky. When he turned sideways, Stanley was hard to spot.
And a gust of wind could sweep Stanley off his feet, but he never let his flatness get in his way.
I'm trying out for baseball, Stanley told Arthur one day. Arthur helped Stanley practice. Stanley hit 1,000 pitches. He caught 1,000 flying balls.
Stanley's hard work showed at tryouts. Congratulations, said Coach Bart. You're our new center fielder.
Opening day was bright and breezy. The teams ran onto the field. There's Stanley, cried Arthur. Mr. Lamchop snapped the picture. Mrs. Lamchop cheered. Hooray for other players too, she added politely.
Stanley was the first batter. He stepped up to home plate, turned sideways, and pulled back his bat.
The pitcher squinted at Stanley. This guy is so skinny, he said. I can hardly see where I throw. He threw a pitch.
Ball 1, said the umpire. Another pitch. Ball 2, said the umpire. 2 more balls, and Stanley earned a walk. Good job, cried Coach Bart.
Stanley's team played well. By 9th inning, they led 6-5. The other team had one last chance. Their best hitter came to bat and blasted the ball toward the fence.
Just then, the breeze picked up. Stanley ran and leaped into the wind. Whoosh! Up floated Stanley. Plunk went the ball into his glove. Great play, Arthur called.
Not everyone
agreed.
No fair, yelled someone in the crowd. Are flat players even allowed? Stanley felt crushed.
That night, Stanley talked to Arthur. I'm a good player, he said, and not just because I'm flat, but how can I prove it? I think I know a way, offers.
The day of the second game was bright and breezy again, but someone was different. Stanley guessed Mrs. Lamchop.
Her son was not flat. He was bursting out of his uniform. Mrs. Lamchop gasped again. My nice clean laundry. A sock stuck out of Stanley's collar. A purple furry blouse trailed from his pant leg. That's my favorite one, Mrs. Lamchop said.
was no time to worry about the clothes. A batter smacks the ball over Stanley's head. Stanley ran and leaped into the wind.
But this time, Stanley didn't float up, and the ball didn't land in his glove. It sailed right over the fence.
Soon, it was Stanley's turn to bat. The pitcher had no trouble seeing where to pitch now. Strike one, called the Emperor. Strike two. Strike three. In bleachers, offered gold, and he made a terrible mistake, helping Stanley unflatten himself. The last inning rolled around. The game was tied. Stanley came to bat again. He heard Arthur's voice in the crowd. "Come on, Stanley! You can do it!" The pitcher threw the ball and Stanley smashed it.
The ball flew into the outfield. Bap. It bounced off the wall. The right fielder ran to pick it up. Meanwhile, Stanley tore around the bases. First base, second base.
First base, second base, third base. Stanley was headed home, but so was the ball. "Stanley, slide!" shouted Coach Bart.
Offer hurt raced. If Arthur's heart raced. If Stanley were still flat, he could slide easily under the catcher's glove. But now, Stanley stretched out his arm
and dove into home plate. There was a swirl of dirty and socks. Then the Emperor spared his arms. "Safe," he called.
"Woohoo!" Arthur holtered. Mr. and Mrs. Lambsop clapped so hard their hands hurt.
"No fair," yelled someone in the crowd. "Look at the muscles on that kid. Are players even big Aloud?" Stanley grinned.
"Not so many socks next time," Mr. Lambchop called down to Stanley. Mrs. Lambchop looked at Arthur, and no bosuns